We're doing a tier list for the weapons and crab champions because, let me tell you, there aren't enough tier lists in the world, so I figured I'd add another one. Weapons and crab champions, I mean, we started off with only 8. We're up to 12 now. More weapons are coming. We know this. But how are the current weapons heading into early access? How are they feeling? It's always worth mentioning that there will be small tweaks here and there into the future. It's a game where you gotta continue to rebalance as items are added, as new weapons come in, etc. So a lot of these weapons have been reworked a few times. You can expect some of them to continue to be reworked. Anyways, let's just get into it. Starting off with the pistols. They were originally single fire, steaming hot piece of shit pistol. And it was awful. I truly do not think there was a worse weapon in any video game ever made, okay? But now they are dual, fully automatic if you hold it down, although you don't have to. There's no trigger restrictions anymore. There used to be. You lose the ability to aim. You lose the ability to have that little slow motion bullet time effect that you get when you aim with a normal weapon, but the damage output is very high. This weapon went from easily F- tier all the way up to a solid E tier. It's a good weapon. It can easily be A or S if you get the right build, but it can also fall behind. I'm a little bit torn between A and B actually, but for the time being, we'll go B. Let's look at the auto rifle. It's kind of just your run-of-the-mill assault rifle, fully automatic weapon for this game. It is the vanilla weapon that all other weapons can be compared to. So it should be no surprise that I'm also going to put this one B. You can utilize a lot of different build strategies for it. It's going to do well with projectile-based mods and perks, and it's going to be reliable throughout, but typically as I breathe into the mic, it's not the best weapon. I will definitely put the better weapons in each category on the left side, and it is definitely worse than the pistols. The pump shotgun, this is very similar situation to the pistol, where it started off as a solo weapon. You could aim. It was very much an up-close and personal weapon, and it was okay. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people hated it. I personally struggled to get a build going with it, but now it's dual. And yeah, you still got to stay up close and personal, but if you can get into a nice rhythm of double firing back and forth, or literally double firing at the same time for massive damage, it will take out hordes and do really well. You're risking it for the biscuit on that high damage because you are putting yourself very close, but it is a crazy high damage output. This weapon is officially our first A tier weapon. It's very, very good now. This guy I didn't have good images, but we're doing what we can, okay? This guy is a burst pistol up until this past week. Now this is the auto shotgun weapon model. I have loved the auto shotgun from day one, and it's been buffed, it's been nerfed. I believe it's in a really high damage per second output currently, and it just, compared to the regular pump shotgun, it's a sniper. Don't really have much else to say. It works with all different builds. You can run a critical hit build, as I've done. You can run crazy stuff like going for a thunder gun build like I've done, where you go crazy knockback shot. You can go for rapid fire projectiles. You can go elemental. There's not really any downsides to using this weapon, and obviously this means we're going A tier. Also, by the way, the shotgun pistol, I probably called it the wrong thing. It's called the auto shotgun now. Whatever. It's a shoddy pistol thing. All right, now on to the burst pistol. It's just been fantastic from the start. It is powerful, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but this one works for a variety of builds. If you unlock this bad boy, you gotta check it out. It has crazy high damage output. I mean, man, get sharp shot and fire shot on that bad boy, and it's over. It is over. Yeah, this is another A, and I'm still going to put this one above dual shoddy. We'll leave it as a second place behind the shoddy pistol. The sniper, this one really grew on me. It started off a little bit weak, a little bit slow, and it didn't have as much pierce. Actually, it started off with 0 pierce. Now, the default fire rate, pretty fast. One of the highest damage outputs per projectile. 300 damage. You can line them up and hit collats. And most people tend to go for a rapid fire build where you can really get it speedy. Things like speccing into critical for critical link and sharpshooter and critical blast, stuff like that. All of a sudden it turns into like an automatic cannon type weapon. And it's insane. It's an absolute heater. This is our first S tier. Now, granted, if it's your first game with it, you might feel like it's C or F. But once you get used to it, you will understand that this is by far one of the best weapons in the game, especially for endgame where you really need to be able to push past Island 100 or so. You need that damage. You need it to scale well. Crossbow, crossbow, crossbow. What an interesting weapon. So many reworks. I literally don't know if it's 3 or if it's 8. But this weapon at one point was S tier broken level of damage up to 1100 damage per second, which is nuts. Then there was times when it's F tier, F minus, triple minus, just garbage. I would If I saw it on the street, I would kick it in the shin, spit on it, and run away. It was disgusting. Get it out of my face. But now, the most recent version of the crossbow is a 7-round spread. Just like arc shot or dagger arc, which are mods that you can get. This literally just shots by default are arc shot, which is insane for mobbing, for taking out the hordes. And it just feels overpowered. I'm not sure I can put it super, super high because I need a little bit more time with it to really understand. But this weapon is very, very good. So, whereas my current opinion would probably put it up in A, I still don't trust it myself yet, and I'm going to put it down in B, but it is high B. Very, very good. The Orb Launcher, this bad boy. You'll see later we've got the Minigun, which is a very good fully automatic weapon. And we already have a very, very solid B tier assault rifle. And then we got the Orb Launcher. It's not very fast, and the damage isn't that high. Despite multiple buffs and multiple attempts to make it a good weapon, it's just unsavable. I really don't know what else to say. This weapon is garbage. There had to be one F tier weapon. It's this fucking thing, man. It is just bad. Try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments and in my Discord, but there are better options, and if you're going for serious long runs, the Orb Launcher is never your best option. Rockets are another interesting one. Look, at the end of the day, you always have grenades, and grenade mods are some of the most powerful and easily scalable ways to get your damage up in the game, period. Some people have even argued that, like, weapon mods will never outscale a grenade mod. I think that's probably not true, but going grenade builds is always a good choice, and I just don't know why you would want to shoot projectile and explosive when you can just spec into grenades. It's a little hard to use, a little bit clunky. I'm going C tier. A lot of people would probably argue B, maybe even A. Some people would argue F. Pretty divisive in the community. The Minigun! This weapon doesn't feel fair. It just doesn't. If there was an S plus tier, I would put this in S plus. I think it is actually a challenge to not do well with this weapon because it is the fastest fire rate in the game. It is the highest mag bullet count, so it's just not even close. You get perks like clip shot, which increases your shot damage per bullets remaining in the clip. So boom, wind up, successive hits up to 50 in a row, increase your damage. Boom, you're getting that. It's a laser beam as it is. Any sort of damage or projectile mods or elemental mods going, and then you're just even better. What I'm trying to say, and what I hope that you can understand, is that this weapon scales perfectly with anything you throw at it, and it already starts off as the fastest, largest mag in the game. Then this thing is going to be the undisputed S of the entire game. Blade Launcher! This one is one of my personal favorites, and it's another really, really good weapon, and another new one. By the way, didn't mention with the minigun, it was added. It's one of the 3 new weapons. The last 3 we're talking about are all additions that were added throughout the beta and were nice little surprises each time. And we're going to see more of those nice surprises as we move on into early access. The Blade Launcher is fun because it hits multiple times per enemy as well as having Pierce. Blade Launcher is the undisputed king of taking out hordes. If you are able to find any spots in the map where they don't spawn behind you and they all funnel in, like the various cave entrances on a few maps, you just spray the Blade Launcher around the ground. It just eviscerates everything. It cuts through them like butter. So this is my 3rd and final S tier weapon, and I'm going to put it personally as the 2nd best weapon. Some of my best runs from the beta were using the Blade Launcher. It's a fun weapon. It might sound like a little airsoft gun, but it is fantastic. Thumb of approval from your boy, all right? Last but not least, the Cluster Launcher. This is a fun one. It's just good fun. Is it a solo powerhouse weapon? No. This is the support weapon of all support weapons for this game. It shoots a cluster, a high spread cluster of little aura balls almost, and they explode and do splash damage at their location. If you hip fire, it's very widespread. If you aim, it's a pretty tight spread, but still pretty wide. The shots do not have a long range, but it just does so much splash damage. If you're able to hone that in and get used to it, you're taking out crowds left and right. Now, when you're trying to keep your distance, stay back from a boss fight or an elite fight, yeah, it's a little bit tough. You're not going to melt the boss necessarily. So that's why I think it's a solid B tier. I think it's probably here. We'll put Crossbow in front. And now that I'm looking at this, I think I'm pretty happy with the results and the categorization. Again, a lot of these are going to be personal preference, and it is completely fair to say that any weapon can do really well depending on the build, because there is such a wide variety of weapon mods and perks that can augment the way that weapons handle and how they end up doing damage. And ultimately, I've had wins on easy, normal, and nightmare mode with every single weapon. Now, when my camera turns off like that, does it mean that I'm screwed? No. Are we alive? Anyway, most weapons are pretty good. As you can see, it's pretty heavily weighted towards the S, A, and B tier. Not a lot of bad weapons. Ultimately, I urge you strongly to just play around. Play with all the weapons. You unlock them slowly. When you beat elite fights and boss fights, you get keys. You unlock new weapons and items at the key totem for 4 keys each. That value might change. It might go down to 2. It might go up to 5. I don't know. But one of the most satisfying experiences of the entire beta and of playing this game so far has just been like learning which weapons are best in which situations and which builds work best with each weapon. So hopefully this was informative. The game should be out by the time you're seeing this, and if it's not, it'll be out within a few hours, so that's super exciting. Steam link in the description, $10. There should be a discount here in the first week anyway. If you're still listening to my voice, clearly like you think I'm hot and like we should kiss sometime, all right? But if you don't want to do that, at least like the video, subscribe. I'm rambling. Have a great rest of your night.